Course. Awesome. I hit it perfectly. That was perfect timing. Welcome in, everyone, to the Go Blue Bear Down podcast, aka the Thy and Smy podcast. I am joined today by my good friend Paul from BearskiFilm. Paul, how you doing?
Good. How are you, everybody? Thank you for joining us.
Well, I'm personally doing good. I can't speak for everyone else, but I'm doing great. Michigan, we're playing a basketball game on Thursday when everyone last saw us on myself, not you and me, but myself on the Bears Country Productions. Michigan beat a 16 seed who had never ever gone to the NCAA tournament, and then today they played the next matchup against Texas A&M. They were losing, kind of bad. I took my girlfriend to the event she has to go to, came back, they were tied. Lo and behold, Michigan won. So I am doing fantastic. And this is not a Michigan podcast. If you guys are clicking on this video, I know a minute in, but this is a Chicago Bears podcast. But it's important to bring up the Michigan bias for myself so there's context. And we're obviously going to be talking about some guys who potentially played for Michigan in 2023, 2024, their football team, and are going to end up hopefully on the Bears. But Paul, anything else you want to lead off with?
Yeah, the main reason I want to join you tonight is just to say fuck Aaron Rodgers.
Let's hear it.
All right.
I've been waiting for this story, man.
So I gotta bring this back a little bit, right? I'm a football fan, and you know that, Carl. You know that I just love football in general, and I love my Bears. And as biased as I am, I still appreciate, good quality football. And so throughout the years, watching him sit there and just tear us up over and over and over, I hated it, but at least I understood it. At least I knew I was still watching pretty football. You know what I mean? Like but dude, recently, I don't know if you know about this, but I was cleaning my house, so I needed something on the TV just while I'm going through and sweeping, mopping, doing all that stuff. And I ran across this documentary on Netflix called Enigma. Do you know about this, Carl?
Sounds like something that Aaron Rodgers would be highlighted in.
So it's 3 hours, 3 episodes an hour each. Dude, I think I stomached my way through the second one. My God, dude. Listen, the guy was a damn good quarterback. Oh my God, is he just such a piece of shit person? And to just sit there and watch a documentary on it and dive into it and just watch him take no accountability for anything wrong in his life ever. Doesn't talk about how he's a piece of shit to his parents. The dude, he's like, I don't want to suffer from depression because I know once football is gone, it's gone. And then what am I? You know what you are? You're still a shitty brother. You're still a shitty fucking son. You're still a shitty human being. All that doesn't go away with some fucking ayahuasca, you fucking drug addict. Dude, to just watch this man come up with excuse after excuse after excuse and just sit there. Oh, woe is me. I'm a professional fucking football player. My life is so hard. Dude, I admired the play on the field and what he was able to do and stuff, but god damn is the character and the psyche and the whole package just so bad. I mean, it is sick to my fucking stomach bad watching, just hearing this guy talk about all this shit, trying to always play victim. I mean, dude, it's so gay, dude. You just gotta, if you watch it. At one point, I made a little clip. I sent it to you. He's like, I could take a lot of pain. Yeah, it's really gay.
That's where that clip was from.
That's where that clip was from.
That's amazing.
Yes,
That is amazing,
dude. Guys, it was. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and promote anything Aaron Rodgers wise, but like I said, I was just curious. Just had this, and I wasn't even tuned in watching it. Just even hearing it in the background pissed me off. I mean, it was so bad. The guy's such a piece of shit. And yeah, I could go on and on and on about that, which I probably will. But maybe
That's
we
fine.
should mix in some Michigan content before I keep telling you how big of a piece of shit he is.
There's a lot to dissect with what you're saying, right? I think you've nailed it spot on because I remember hearing concerns about Aaron Rodgers and his relationship with his family in the early 2010s. This is not anything new. So my direct experience with Aaron Rodgers, not that I have any personal anything like that, I've seen him on the Joe Rogan podcast, and truth be told, that was a good listen. I didn't necessarily respect the guy, but just listening to him, he just sounded like another guy, you know. But I know that on a platform that big, he's gonna be on his best behavior, put up a charade, and the true, actual Aaron Rodgers, I think that you've essentially nailed it on the head. The guy's a piece of crap, and it's ironic because I do think that him as a human being is literally the polar opposite of him as a football player. Because as time has gone on, I said it in the moment, and I'm never going to back down from this. Aaron Rodgers could be the most talented quarterback to ever play football. At the very least, he's top 5 most talented quarterbacks ever. He's extremely talented. He was able to win a Super Bowl with a roster. You've highlighted this before with him taking all these sacks, all these things. He had good players, I will say. What, Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb.
Yeah, but you
guys
make
were
good players, man.
in the
Jordy
moment.
Nelson went somewhere, did nothing. Like, you make good players too. Like, he was able to sit there and make an offense. They drafted defense every year in the first round. Didn't matter. They knew they had that side of the ball.
It's ironic because the Packers still follow that philosophy.
Dude, I know, but like, I that's what I'm saying. He really damn good quarterback. I agree with you, Carl. And the thing is, it's like, okay, then just like, you love the game so much, do what the rest of these fucking people do. Go retire and coach. Don't sit there and fucking go take some psychedelics trying to figure out your life path here, telling me you fucking love football, but you're going to be lost without it. You can just go fucking broadcast. Look, Gronk was dumb enough to be like, Gronk likes football, but there it is, guys.
I could take a lot of pain.
So gay. Dude, I'm just telling you, man, it's like just it's not, and I don't even care about his conspiracy theories. I'll listen to that all day. Like you said, it's not that, it's just like the decisions you make and your actions and who you are. You're a piece of shit, dude. Like, he's just a piece of shit. No accountability whatsoever. In his mind, he never did anything fucking wrong. Everybody screwed him all the time. It's just like, dude.
I just want to highlight Scottish Bear's comment. This is, again, spot on. The Bears players that allowed him to say, I own you, you should be so pissed off at that. And again, I took some flack, believe it or not, because of my take on Tevin Jenkins. I said, in my opinion, Tevin Jenkins chose to sit out against the Packers. And I know this year they didn't have Rodgers, haven't had him for the past 2 years, but it's the same idea, right? Like, you're going to prioritize a tiny little bit more money that you could have got. Obviously, that went south for Tevin Jenkins. But that's the mindset you have to have, is the exact... You actually have to mirror the guy. You have to mirror your opponent at the very least, right? Match their energy. So if you're going to have a guy say, I own you, and then you're going to have teammates, players sit out games for whatever reason, I don't like it, man. But yeah, you're totally right. I don't know.
Dude,
the guy's an asshole.
You know what really got me about that game?
What's that?
We're
talking week 18, literally the last game the Bears played?
No. We're talking about Packers at Bears, October 17th, 2021.
Just ripped it off, or did you look that up?
That's the I own you game.
You looked it up, or you just remember?
I know which game it is, so I looked up the schedule
it's that
of the year.
Deep? Oh,
it's
okay,
2021.
As long as you look
Packers at Bears, and I know that because it was Justin Fields' first game starting. So it was the year we drafted Justin Fields.
The first game, Justin Fields starting against the Packers, or that's his actual
4 games in was the Browns, where Andy Dalton went out and Fields came in to play like 3/4 of a game and got annihilated. But I remember his first start, maybe it was at home, I believe. His first start at home was that Packers at Bears in October. Then that was the Aaron Rodgers I own you game. And I said right then and there, I go, if this quarterback's going to be for real for us, he's never going to let the fucking team beat him again. Like that would have pissed me off enough as a quarterback in this league to never let them win again. And so the next time we faced him, which I believe was later that year in December when we lost that game, I was really disappointed. I know it was not, a good year for us anyway, but it meant a lot to me to sit there and like come and show up and fucking beat this team. Don't let them do that to you. But that's the type of shit that Aaron Rodgers does, man. He's a fucking mind game piece of shit bastard. And like I said, he's definitely a drug addict at this point. He fighting depression constantly. It's bad because it's like, the way you learn in life is by listening to other people. And he clearly just does not do that.
It's so ironic you said that because he did learn from a very good quarterback how to be an even better quarterback. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers could have been the first overall pick. It was instead Alex Smith, and his draft stock didn't plummet, but just the way the board fell, he fell all the way down to the Packers at the end of the first round. And he sat for 3-4 years behind Brett Favre, and he became a great quarterback. Like I just said, top 5 talent-wise of all time, in my opinion. But to not have that philosophy for what actually matters, it's kind of ironic. And then just, again, to piggyback off of what you said regarding having the players with the attitude and the quarterback to say, oh, if he's going to be anything for this team, he's going to have to beat Green Bay, right? This is the type of quarterback we have now. I don't know if you know if you know what you're looking at, Paul, but what this is, it's, I believe, a 1-of-1. Caleb Williams signed this card in a video. It's on the card. So there's a product that I know Shorty on Bears Country Productions has opened. Adam Mason on his channel has opened. They're looking for this card. And for good reason. I mean, I don't know if he just had it pop into his head because it has the green border, but our quarterback goes out of his way to say things like "duh Bears" in a fun way, and he's not backing down from this rivalry, which is fucking excellent, right? Not the Justin Fields type where it's kind of like oh, don't worry about that, I'm just here to have a good time, play football. It's more serious to this quarterback, and that's why I'm so excited about the future of the Chicago Bears, because this quarterback is damn good, and he's got the right attitude to match it.
And that's why this year when we played against them, and that
Drake T. Yeah, just to say, this card is a 1-of-1. There's only one piece of this card in existence, right? So if you were to pull it, there are people who have put a bounty on that card again. So what that means is that there's telling you, hey, as soon as someone finds this card, let me know. I will pay this amount of money. What is that amount of money? It's $25,000. Not 100, but 5 digits. That's a lot of money. So if I pulled that card, I forgot the term. It's like I'd get famous and forget all y'all, something like that. I don't know if I'd actually do that to you guys, but
it's like a shiny Charizard.
To the highest degree.
So, yeah, but Carl, that's why like this year, I know as far as like draft capital, it didn't matter much. And, who cares if we had 5 wins or 6 or 4 wins on the season? Like it's not doing anything. But that last game against Green Bay was worth winning. It was worth winning for that same damn reason, based off the first matchup Caleb had against them, where he did put the team in field goal range to win, and they still lost. At least we were able to do it again, perform in the clutch, not lose to them twice, get that win. I mean, that tide has to turn somehow, and that could have been the turning of it. That could have been right there. Us finally beating them, maybe pulling on that chain a little bit. Maybe, it might go back and forth, but maybe we might not let it go, man. Maybe we might fucking have their number.
No one has thought of this, or I've never heard anyone say this. I mean, that could have been the difference between having Ben Johnson decide to go to the Bears and not. If you're a Ben Johnson who in your introductory press conference say, hey, I want to beat Green Bay, I know how to beat Green Bay. If you're looking in the face of a quarterback who knows how to do it because he literally has. If Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson sat down and talked face-to-face, Caleb Williams would say, if you were my head coach, I would have beat Green Bay twice last year, just like you did with Jared Goff. So in that sense, from a quarterback, teaching your quarterback to live vicariously through with your offense, there's no drop-off in that sense. You've got that high competitive spirit, and it's more impressive for Caleb Williams because he did so with a terrible offensive line, with Tevin Jenkins choosing to sit out, with again, your offensive line is so bad, you're forcing DJ Moore to be like a running back, essentially, get him the ball behind the line of scrimmage time and time again, play after play. So, again, that's what you want in a quarterback, and we've got it. It's weird to say.
It was important to see. It was definitely important to see. And so I'm glad we saw it. I'm glad we got that because it does mean something. And like I said, it's just you can't sit there and keep losing and then just keep talking. Like you got to back it up with wins. And so it was nice to at least get that win at the end of the year. And yeah, hopefully that's where this thing finally starts going differently, man. But God damn, Aaron Rodgers, I just hate him so much. Dude, it's just so soft. Like such a soft character for a guy that's been able to take a lot of pain and punishment throughout his life and everything like that for his career. Just his mindset is just so weak. I mean, this is why, like I said, dude, you got to be obsessed with the game, like to a crazy degree. And that's why these guys wind up. Look at Brady. He's off trying to be an announcer, trying to do whatever he can just to stick around the game. You know what I mean? And
well, that
it just doesn't seem like Rodgers. has
Yeah.
that.
Oh, if that's what you want to move to, I just want to say on Tom Brady, like I think that Fox approached him and said, "Hey, if you're interested in this whatsoever, just give it a try. If you don't like it, that's cool, but we're going to give you an insane amount of money just to try it." And he said, "Okay, fine." But he's also using that money to become, a partial owner of the Las Vegas Raiders. So I do not think that Aaron Rodgers has a bone in his body that would be an asset towards coaching. I think that he would be a terrible coach in any sense. I think that he'd be able to maybe mentor another quarterback if he was to try and be a nicer guy and pivot to that type of role in his career as a quarterback, a mentor for a young quarterback, which is ironically why I thought that he would be a guy who could be going to the Minnesota Vikings. And whether it's just his shit attitude and wanting to kind of recreate the Brett Favre arc, which is what I kind of said a month ago, 6 weeks ago at this point, as a joke. I have screenshots of the thumbnails to prove it. I thought that Rodgers would be going to Minnesota, and now the reports are saying that he was holding out for an offer from Minnesota. So now his only option is Pittsburgh, which I think on Friday he spent 6 hours with Tomlin and their owner and all that good stuff. So I don't
Yeah,
know. If
I
he
think
doesn't go,
Pittsburgh.
if he doesn't go to Pittsburgh, I could see the guy being forced out of the NFL in the sense that no one's going to give him a starting job. His ego won't allow him to be a backup. There's not even an opportunity for him to, compete. Because now, if the only other option was the Giants a week or
Giants,
two
yeah.
ago, right? And what
They'd rather have
happened?
no quarterback.
The Giants signed Jameis Winston. So Jameis Winston
Where's
can.
Russell Wilson?
Russell Wilson's unsigned as well, man.
Really? I thought he went to the Giants. No.
No, he
Okay.
I think had a visit, but what the Giants ended up doing was signing
Okay.
Jameis Winston. So Jameis Winston's a guy who's probably going to start 4, 6, maybe even 8 games for the Giants in 2025, and then give way to whatever rookie quarterback they draft. Whether that's at I can't remember, is it third overall? Giants would draft third overall or whatever they can get in the second round, which would be smarter. Gene Neal, you are fantastic. You are awesome. Thank you for spending your time with us. Cannot say that enough. I haven't actually said hello to anyone in the chat, so I feel terrible for that. And I'm going to do it right now. Bears Junkie 55 HOF. Steve Rodgers just said Gene Neal. John S. Vizojo, Prometheus, good old Scottish Bear and Cliff Victoria. AMS as well. Drake T. Brian Gilmore, obviously. Go Blue Buddy. Dustin Shavino. What does this have to say? And Aaron Rodgers did own us. What did you want them to do? Cheap shot players like they did Jim McMahon. We need to win on the field. We continuously fail to do that. I think, and I know this is a little bit after the fact from your comment, but essentially, if you have players who are choosing to sit out because they want to get a better contract in free agency, that's not the attitude that you're going to need to be able to beat a team that is consistently beating your ass.
Fuck you. At this point, it's been like 9 years of you beating us. It's fucking clear who's the better team in this fucking rivalry for the last decade. And you're going to come in here on our fucking rookie quarterback's first home game and pull some little dumb fucking shit like that. Like it's fuck you. It's the context
if that was
of
his
it,
rookie game, I think Rodgers knew that as well. So Rodgers is the one who
he
kind
did.
of
He does that
maybe
fucking
Rodgers
shit
is the
to piss
reason
you
why
off.
Fields failed. Maybe it wasn't our general manager and our poor coaching. I'm positive that they contributed to that.
Dude,
but at the end of the day, maybe Rodgers is the one who took a poo-poo all over Mr. Calm, Justin Fields.
Do you know Michael Jordan, when he was in the league, and Kobe Bryant got into the league as a rookie, and they were going to go play the Bulls, and he's like, I got Jordan, and his teammates was like, dude, you're fucking crazy. What are you doing? You don't want to fucking push that guy's buttons. Like, no. Dude, he's like, everybody I fucking talked to was afraid of Michael Jordan. That's what he did to this fucking league. And Kobe's like, I'm not fucking afraid. He's like, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to push his butt. I'm going to fucking give it all, because it takes that type of mentality and it takes that fucking type of competitor. And hopefully that's what we have here with Caleb. Just that, dude, there's little shit like that, man, that you don't let guys get away with. Like, fuck them. And, dude, that I own you bullshit, that came so late in his career. It's like, dude, it was just, he's a piece of shit. He saw some lady flicking him off and he got pissed because he's a fucking junkie. Can't hold it in. So that's my take on it.
It's pretty accurate, in my opinion, as well. Just wanted to address Amos before this got lost in the sauce.
Damn good quarterback, though.
The signed Caleb card is from 2024 Topps Chrome Football. I don't know what the MSRP is. You could ask Mr. Shorty if he pops in here, because he bought a couple boxes. Now I will say it was ironic. Oh, the MSRP right here on a value box appears to be $30. So don't know if it's worth it. I mean, that would be fun to open. I know Adam got
Carl,
some Michigan cards, but
when we did mock drafts early on, and this is why I told you I'm not a big mock draft guy, and you know that. You've done a couple with me now. I think all the ones I've actually done have been with you. I might have done one with David without you, but typically, like last year, me and David waited to like right before the draft to finally do a mock draft because the shit changes so much. And one of the things that like I saw early on, which has kind of been a thing now, it's like I know it doesn't always make sense. In fact, year to year, it doesn't make sense. Quarterbacks go high, man. There's a thirst. There is a thirst. And to have a mock draft where at least two don't go in the top 10.
I think that's going to be the conundrum. And I've got some takes that I'd love to document these live. Okay, first off, and I think that you'll fully agree with this. There will be 2 tackles that will go in the top 10 of this draft, period. And now you could start to slice hairs with that being Will Campbell, who many consider to be a guard. I think Armband Bamboo, a.k.a. Armand Membu, he's going to go top 7. I've saw essentially, I wouldn't call it a report, but a tweet that verified my thought process in the sense that this guy is just so good. If he slides to the Jets at 7, the Jets will take him. So I'm positive that there's going to be 2 tackles taken in the top 10. As far as quarterbacks, I'd be willing to bet a lot of money that Cam Ward is going to get drafted in the top 10. But it's going to be one of those situations where once someone flinches, it could start a chain reaction. But if no one flinches, there could be a fun situation that unfolds maybe going into the second round as far as a run on quarterbacks, if you will. I do think it's very likely that Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders are drafted in the top 3. I don't know if that will happen, or it definitely shouldn't happen, in my opinion. But just out of the need for quarterback desperation is a real thing. The fun, interesting conversation would be, where do Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders get drafted in the 2024 class with Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels? A lot of people would tell you that those 2 quarterbacks would go 7 and 8 behind the 6 that were drafted last year. So that's the type of stuff we're talking about here, just some bad quarterbacks, but quarterback desperation is absolutely a real thing.
It's a very, very, very real thing, and it takes effect every single year, and it affects the draft every single year. Like, dude, you're telling me the Jets are good with Justin Fields?
Actually, that's a fun conversation, in my opinion, because they may not feel that they're high enough to strike for a good quarterback. Maybe if one that they like falls, they could trade up if they really want to do that. I think the smart thing for them to do would just be to let Justin Fields ride it out, get the ship on track as far as a new coaching staff. Obviously, Aaron Glenn coming from Detroit, new head coach. I think he's a first-time head coach as well, of course. So he will probably go the route of building up the roster as far as trying to hit on all the draft picks this year. And then next year, after Justin Fields has cruised the Jets again into another top 10 draft pick situation, they will go ahead and try and select a quarterback maybe from a better class next year. A better quarterback class.
Okay. So then that sounds great. But then when we say let's ride it out with Justin Fields, and we take a look at Justin Fields' career, has he ever actually played a full season?
As far as injuries and whatnot, I
Yes.
feel like I guess the year that Bajent played, I was at that game that he got hurt, essentially the Daniil Hunter game.
Yes, I believe there was one year where he was missing 2 games. One year where he missed 4 games. He had half of his rookie year that he came in. So it's like, so to just sit there and just be like, yeah, we're gonna ride it out with Justin Fields. Well, that hasn't actually happened yet. So like that's still a question mark. So like I said, for the Jets to sit there, if they could get the third quarterback in the draft, whether that's Dart, whether that's Sanders, whoever the fuck it is, they might need a quarterback still at 7, man. And if one falls to 7, you might have 3 go in the top 10, which makes it all that much more possible that shiny diamond, Mason Graham, just keeps falling down a little lower a little lower and becomes within reach. Because man, I'm telling you, if it's within reach, fucking trade up to go get that kid.
Yeah, there's so many things to unpack. I just want to hit Scottish Bear first. He says that the Membu tape is dreadful. I believe you, Scottish Bear. I trust your judgment on the tape more than myself. That said, you are wrong. Dane Brugler has been talking about armband bamboo going top 10 for months. And a lot of my draft philosophy comes from Dane Brugler. If you guys watch Lord of the Rings, if you've ever heard of the Mouth of Sauron, you could refer to me jokingly as the mouth of Dane Brugler. I could give a rat's ass, but that's where my brain is. So I genuinely think that his assessment, which could mirror a lot of GMs and front offices in the NFL, combined with the combine, that's why I'm so definitive on saying that I think that Bamboo is going to be going top 10. Okay, as far as these Michigan kids, let me kind of break it down for you. And you're right, as far as trading up, right? That's why I think that winning against Green Bay was such more important, because if there's a player that you really want that deserves to be drafted higher than where you're going to maybe acquire them, that's why trading up makes perfect sense to me. Whether it's 7, 8, or 9, you're not going to have to give up the farm. If you really need, if there's a bidding war for some reason, you could give up a second to move up to 7, and it would suck. But if the player you're getting is Mason Graham, and you all know my opinion on Mason Graham, it's going to be a really cheap price to pay. I guess let me just kind of take this. Go ahead.
We're in a shitty spot with pick 10 this year. I'm actually way more for trade up or trade down this year than I think I have been in most years. I just feel like I don't know, we're like right there at the edge where, man, like I said, it's a high enough pick to where whoever you pick really needs to work out. And when I say work out, I'm saying like sign a second contract here after their rookie contract's over. So like, but I don't know, at pick 10, you're kind of right there on the edge a little bit. So either drop back, get more draft capital, try and, take more shots, or like I said, if there is a guy there that's within reach, then trade up and just go get him. But whoever it is, it's got to be a for sure thing.
Yeah, John S., I'm going to say the same thing. I trust you guys on the tape. It's just kind of what I've been hearing combined with that combine. I would agree. I think that, and we can get into this, Paul, in a little bit, but if the Bears draft an offensive lineman, I think that the only option that is worthwhile would be Josh Simmons. Not to say that I want him to be selected there, but if you're talking about a player of that caliber at a position of need, it's not a need in 2025 per se, but it definitely is in 2026, because Braxton Jones is going to get paid $20 million. Is it going to be the Bears? I sure hope not. But Josh Simmons, the ACL, it's not an ACL injury technically, but whatever the case is, the knee injury, it's not a stable situation, if you will, right? Play on words. I don't want the Bears to draft any offensive lineman in the top 10 because I just don't think that it's valuable. If you're going to go for anyone, maybe you go Will Campbell and shove him at guard, but I don't know if the Bears can afford to do that or if that's the smart thing to do either.
Okay, so has he played football since the recovery?
No. I mean,
no.
As far as in a football game, he got injured in like week 4 of the college season and has not played football since, to my understanding.
So now we're adding more variables, right, to the thing. Like, that's a question now. I'm talking about certainty. Like, whatever you pick, whoever you pick, you want as many certainties as possible that this guy's going to work out. Having a guy coming right off of Shane, what's up, man? Appreciate you. Having a guy coming right off of an ACL and drafting him. Now you're hoping instead of being certain. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I get what you're saying, dude. I'd rather take tight end at that point if Tyler Warren's there. Like, dude, at that point, if you're more for sure that he's going to be a legitimate football player. But I mean, dude, I don't like first round tight ends either. Honestly, my top thing is left tackle. I mean, defensive end first. Like, if there's a defensive end there you like, take him. Defensive tackle, left tackle. If not, trade the fuck back. You know what I mean? That's really where I'm at, and I don't.
It's just the problem. Obviously, you'd love to trade back, right? You could gain some value on the Rich Hill trade chart, whatever you want to say. It's just that trading down, it's 2 to tango. So who's going to want to trade up? And ideally, it would be for a quarterback. So maybe there is a situation where no one flinches. It actually goes proper. Abdul Carter's drafted 1, Mason Graham is drafted 2, and the Giants take their quarterback out of desperation. But the other quarterback, whether that's Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders, I could see him falling to 10. Not a problem. That would be fun. Then you're talking about someone else giving up the farm to come up and draft that quarterback at 10 where the Bears are. That would be awesome. Um, Let me just get the Michigan stuff out of the way in the sense that this is what we're looking at, Paul. And you touched on tight end, right? So again, as the tweet states, for the untrained eye, this graphic, as per the Michigan Pro Day from University of Michigan's football Twitter account, I think that there's 4 top 20 picks pictured, okay? So again, Mason Graham in the middle. I'm seeing a lot of smoke of Mason Graham to the Jaguars, which is at 5. A lot of fans, a lot of people talking about it, how it would be a perfect fit. So every day that goes on, I'm getting less and less hopeful of Graham because I don't want my heart to be broken, and it will be broken. Next to him, Will Johnson, number 2. I don't know if you can see my cursor, right? Yeah, you can see it. Will Johnson here. He's a really good cornerback. My stock in him is falling. Probably someone who's going to get drafted by one of those teams in the teens that's going to need a cornerback, and they'll take the risk, essentially. Right here, next to number 0. Number 0 is Josiah Stewart, who, by the way, guys, Josiah Stewart's planning on meeting with the Lions. That's a terrible sight, in my opinion. Next to him right here, that's Kenny Grant. Kenny Grant is a guy who I'm starting to really be okay with at 10 because I'm sure you guys listen to the Barroom Network, and on the Barroom Network they had with Greg Gabriel a Houston radio host, I believe. I haven't remembered his name yet, but essentially he said that he had a direct connection to Michigan and talked to Michigan. I think he inquired about Mason Graham, and they told him, well, Kenny Grant has the potential to be better. Kenneth Grant is a bigger human being who maybe the measurables are a little bit better, but he played just as good. It's just that a lot of people, they don't understand what his job was. He'd be the nose tackle, and he'd be eating up the double team, so it's harder to get the production out of there. And Mason Graham, the 3 technique, would be getting the one-on-ones, and he shined. Great player. They're both great. But if, I'm sorry, I almost said Walter Nolan. Walter Nolan's an honorary Michigan man. But Kenny Grant at 10 would be fantastic. And then over here, number 18, that's Colson Loveland. Another tight end, the second best tight end of the class. I doubt that he gets past the Chargers at 22 at the very latest. He's a much better pass catcher of the football than Tyler Warren, truth be told. Colson Loveland's a lot more comparable to Brock Bowers than Tyler Warren. And I'm happy that you brought up Tyler Warren, Paul, because his value comes from this weird gadget type player where he takes the ball as like a wildcat or gets end arounds. So he looked really flashy in college, and I feel like his stock in the public eye is up because of that. But is that shit gonna fly in the NFL? Especially as your tight end too? Like, Tyler Warren's a good player. Don't get me wrong, okay? If the Bears draft him, I'll love him. But I think it'd be a mistake taking Tyler Warren at 10.
You gotta play checkers before you play chess. Okay? Okay, you know why Penei Sewell works for the Lions? He's a fucking tackle and he blocks.
Right.
Okay? And so he does his checkers. And then you can fucking have him be eligible for a pass and throw him a fucking pass and have him catch it, even as a tackle, because he could be a little gadget player. But the point is, he plays his checkers, right? So, like, dude, yeah, no, it's not about being cute at first. It's about just being consistent. And so you consistently need to be able to go in there and get the job done, right? So, yeah, no, listen, I mean, there's been plenty of second round drafted tight ends that have done just fine. Gronk was a second rounder, I believe. Jimmy Graham was a second rounder. I mean, these guys, you can get them. I think Antonio Gates was a late first, I want to say, but whatever. Regardless, the positions that make sense to draft there, like I said, and the ones we need, defensive end, I think is the big one. And I think that's where a lot of the focus has to be. I don't think you can redo this whole offensive line. I think you still have Braxton Jones here for another year. I think you could get away with what you've done. Just add in some more depth, add in some more late round draft picks, some bodies, you know what I mean? And I mean like 4th, 5th, 6th round guards, maybe another center you could draft in those late rounds if you wanted to. But at this point, I don't think you need to draft a left tackle at pick 10 with the guys that are out there. And like I said, I'd be looking more at defensive end. I'd be looking at defensive tackle, depending on who drops down. I'd be looking to trade up a little bit or trade back down and gain more picks. So
yeah, the philosophy's spot on. You said something along the lines of rebuilding the offensive line, Paul, that has happened. The Bears traded for an all-pro guard. They signed the best center available, and now he's the second highest paid center in the NFL. And you traded for another guard who has Pro Bowl potential. At the very least, you should hope to know what his floor is because the head coach has direct experience with him. So, for all intents and purposes, this offensive line has been rebuilt. The problem is depth. You're talking about drafting depth at 10th overall? I don't know. I'm going to bring up Steve Rodgers' comment again as far as Will Campbell. Because Will Campbell's a guy, always got short arms, can't be a tackle, he's going to be a guard. So, if he's a really good guard, that's fine. I'd probably be okay with him at 10 then. It just sucks because he's going to have to sit for a year. It's almost a situation where you'd start the year with, if the Bears drafted Will Campbell, they could start the year by having Braxton Jones play. And then as long as he stays healthy and he's got some trade value, you can trade him. Then you almost have like this open competition in the middle of the season with Karan and Campbell. And if Campbell wants to try at left tackle, if it's not going to hurt the team, if they're in a spot where they can't go to the playoffs or whatever, maybe you try him and see what you've got. I don't know, man. It's just, I wouldn't feel comfortable with that. I want something more surefire out of my top 10 pick. And I don't know if you want to talk about it, Paul, but the way that they've approached free agency and the holes that they filled, I do genuinely think that the Bears are in a position where they can draft best player available. And if that player happens to be Ashton Genty, I really don't think that you could fault the Bears for doing that. It's not what I want the Bears to do. I've said what I want the Bears to do 5-10 minutes ago. I want the Bears to draft Kenny Grant at 10. But if they think that Ashton Genty is going to be another player who's going to earn a couple contract extensions, all this good stuff, and he's going to be able to help elevate your offense, a good running game is a quarterback's best friend. So
Carl, why not draft another wide receiver?
Now that's
we need wide receiver 3, Carl.
That's the thing. Now it's kind of your standpoint from last year. You can actually feel that way this year because you already have 2 really good wide receivers. Last year, we only had 1 and a 1-year rental, and there was no future. We have our future. There's no need to draft a wide receiver. And another situation, like I'll tell you, if you add Tatoria McMillan, Luther Burden to the crop of wide receivers from last year, these wide receivers we're talking about getting drafted high in this year's draft, they're going in the second round next year. These guys are jokes. Outside of Luther Burden, I do like him. I don't think that he's as a surefire thing as anything from last year, right? He's no Malik Neighbors.
Yeah, jokes as far as prospects, but you never know how these guys turn out. You know what I mean? With wide receivers especially, you have so many of them that go in late rounds that wind up being really damn good wide receivers. I mean, really damn good. Tyreek Hill went in the 5th. Antonio Brown went in the 5th. I mean, you had Puka Nacua go in the 5th. Cooper Kupp go in the 3rd. You have some wide receivers in this league that have gone, like I said, in some later rounds that have made some noise and been really good wide receivers for the NFL. So, yeah, maybe prospect-wise, but still, just the overall idea, the philosophy is kind of stupid. Like, I would be horrified if they took a wide receiver.
Now, if Malik Neighbors was available at pick 9 for at pick 10 for the Chicago Bears in 2025, I'd be all over that. But he's not in this draft. It's not worth it. I don't care about the philosophy as much as just best player available. And the way that they've maneuvered their roster construction going into this year's draft, the Bears can afford to draft best player available at 10. And they should. That's what it's all about. Getting a player who's going to be here for a long time and do the best that he possibly can.
I don't want Ashton Genty.
I hear you. I agree with you. I don't want to.
No, and I hear you. And if they take them, they take them, right? Like, it is what it is. I didn't want wide receiver last year, and they took Rome. So it is what it is. I'm not going to sit here and just, complain all the time. But, I mean, just to think like, dude, okay, we're talking about depth. First of all, Jonah Jackson did not play a full year last year, right? So, like, he's your right guard. He's your right guard, though, right?
Yes.
Okay, so there's that. Braxton Jones got hurt last year, right? So there's that. Let's say if either one of those 2 injuries happen again. Let's say Braxton Jones gets hurt again. Now what?
You've got to rely on Karan. You've got to rely that Karan, your 3rd-round pick from last year, a full year and an off season for the Chicago Bears with the new coaching staff, admittedly. and to be healthy. He wasn't healthy to start the year, right? So he wasn't getting the reps from practice, all these things. I hope that they don't just piss away that pick, because that's a third-round pick. That's where your meat and potatoes is an NFL roster, is on day 2 of the draft. That's a serious draft asset that you can't just piss away because he had a couple bad games under a bad coaching staff.
We're talking about Velus Jones, Zach Pickens, and Karan Amagaji. Those are your third-round picks.
Yeah, tell me about it.
That's terrible. That's just terrible.
Now,
Carl.
Zach Pickens, I'm his number one hater. Admittedly, I think he's playing the wrong position, right? They're asking him to play nose so that it can be on the same field as the other second-round pick that the Bears had with Gervon Dexter. I hear it, but he's just terrible. So I'm glad that they cut bait with Velus. I genuinely hope that the Bears are able to acquire an icon from Michigan at defensive tackle, whether that's Mason Graham or Kenneth Grant. And I want Zach Pickens to fucking pack it up. I want him to have his bags packed after day 1 of the draft, because I hope that we draft his replacement, and that will be that.
I want to answer Dustin. He said, who did I want last year? Last year, I was also a big proponent of trying to do the best you can to trade back. And from what we saw in Hard Knocks, they were willing to trade up for Rome.
Absolutely.
Thank God the Falcons are stupider than we are. But because they just gave up a 4th-round pick. They declined us, and then they took a quarterback, whatever. Anyway, I wanted to trade back and then take best defensive player available. And if you would have traded back to pick 15, pick 16, all the defensive players were still available. So Jared Verse would have probably been my pick. But you had Turner there, Dallas Turner, Jared Verse, one of those two guys.
Me and Nick mocked Verse to the Bears in a trade down.
And so, yeah, you could have totally had a really good draft if you did that. But, yeah, it is what it is, right? So I felt the Rome pick was more of a future pick, which now we're in the future, we're seeing why. Like you said, we have 2 good wide receivers now. Okay, I get that. But to draft a running back, pick 10, man, the only thing that's positive from that is you get a 5th-year option on him, because you're not going to re-sign this guy.
Who?
Of the running back that you draft pick 10. Listen, you're going to pick up his 5th-year option, and after 5 years, it's see you later. Saquon Barkley got drafted pick 2. It was see you later.
Right.
Like,
but
dude,
the problem with that example is that the Giants caught fool's gold with a quarterback. They decided to sign I don't even know if he made the Pro Bowl, but he won them a playoff game against a terrible Vikings choke job. So they just made the wrong choice. The Giants should still have Saquon. I think it's a poor argument.
So there's so many examples of this. Like Ezekiel Elliott did get signed. How did that turn out for the fucking Cowboys? At the end of that contract, his legs were dead, and his backup Tony Pollard was doing all that and more. You look at I hate to bring this up due to recent allegations, but Le'Veon Bell. But still, that whole situation where he thought he was worth money and sat out, James Conner came in, did just fine, right? So you're talking about fresh legs. Like, dude, even when you draft a guy like Adrian Peterson and it winds up being Adrian Peterson and he kicks ass, history has shown that, like, dude, Derrick Henry couldn't do it for the Titans. Adrian Peterson couldn't do it for the Vikings. Like, it's a quarterback first driven league. And dude, these are luxury picks. So like I said, the only real benefit that comes from drafting a running back in the 1st round nowadays is that you get to keep them for an extra year. You get to get that 5th-year option. Other than that, most running backs should be rookie contracts and then see you later, man. Like, you want fresh legs at that position. You do, and that's why you draft them later. I don't know. So
yeah, there's so much to unpack. Romy, Mr. Cliff Victoria is correct. Thank you, Cliff. You've got my back. Ghost Any, standing for energy, hit me up. I don't want to reflect negatively and beg for sponsorships on BearskiFilm's channel or the Bears Country Productions. By the way, perfect time for me to let you guys know we are simulcasting 3 channels. Just mentioned 2 of them. The last, of course, is the Dines My Podcast. If you
perfect
guys are
time to let everybody know Aaron Rodgers is a fag. I'm sorry, Carl. Sorry to cut you off.
On your channel as well. This is fantastic. Over on the Facebook side, if you guys are on Facebook and you've never heard of YouTube, try and go to the YouTube, type in any channel you want. BearskiFilm, The Iron's My Podcast or Bears Country Productions. Click on it, like the video, subscribe, and that's it. It would mean the world to me. But again, you guys are fantastic. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. I want to ask you guys a poll, and then there's another topic that I'm seeing start to boil over in the chat that I would love to talk about. As far as a poll over on the Iron's My channel, I'm going to ask a question being, who would you guys prefer to draft at 10th overall? I want to give 4 options. I'm only allowed to give 4 at the most. But out of Ashton Jeanty, Will Campbell, and Kenny Grant, if all 3 of those are available, let's add a 4th name. Who do you think's going to be there? I don't know, Paul, if you have an opinion on this. Who's a player? Oh, Tyler Warren. Tyler Warren, right? That's probably a really popular one. But I guess I could go Will Campbell or like another OL option.
Yeah, no. Tyler Warren would be the guy to add in there at 4th. And yeah, Prometheus, I am not telling you. I wasted like 2 hours of my life listening to that man sob about his life, even though he's made generational money. And poor him, poor Aaron Rodgers. Boo hoo hoo. And he can take a lot of pain, by the way.
Brian Gilmore asking me how crazy it would be if Creighton beats Auburn. I don't know anything about these college basketball teams, man. All I could tell you is that there's just an iconic college basketball head coach face-off. It was Calipari and the other one. I think Calipari won. Like that stuff's nuts. And the coaching in basketball is so very important. I don't think it'd be crazy either way to answer your question directly, though, Brian. Paulski, crack me up. You love to see it. Drake T, thank you so much for spending your time with us. As with
Carl,
everyone else.
Do you have that Twitter I sent you? Did I send it to you of Aaron Rodgers from I don't think I did. Hold on, let me send it to you real quick.
Please do. I just bit the bullet. So again, on the Lions My YouTube channel, have a poll out for you guys. Again, who would you want to draft at 10th overall with all of them being available? 4 options. Ashton Jeanty, Will Campbell / Josh Simmons, Kenneth Grant, and Tyler Warren. I would love to know what you guys have to say. You guys are actively voting. Thank you so much. The Michigan bias is shining through. God bless each and every one of you. Kenny Grant is in the lead. You love to see it. Romy's asking me, are you a Bulls fan? No. I like the Bulls. If the Bulls start doing well, I'll start rooting for them again. But truth be told, my love for the Bulls tore with Derrick Rose's knees. It was such a shame. Wanted that team to win. Kid got hurt. Couldn't win. I have not watched basketball essentially since.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers. I sent you that. If you could put it on the screen.
Twitter DM?
Yeah, Twitter DM for sure.
I got you.
Because, dude, I got to say, Antonio Brown might be one of the best Twitter follows ever.
You can't look at his tweets while you're working, though. You cannot look at his tweets in public
Not
while
safe
you're at
for work.
Not at all. I've seen some butts that I've never seen before from that Twitter account. So yeah, he's pretty terrible, but he's very, very hilarious. I got you guys though.
Yeah, thanks for the warning though. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I would just say don't follow him on like your main account. Let's take a look. What does Paul have for us? Let me know if you can hear it, Paul.
351! 351! Rover, sit! Hut! Hut!
He seems to have some difficulty letting go of the game.
Absolutely. Spot on. Absolutely. Yeah, that's what we're talking about as a guy who, after football, he's going to have a big problem. I could see him being the second host on the Joe Rogan podcast. Essentially having like a spin-off that Joe Rogan is uploading twice a day. And Rodgers would have his own guests in situations.
It's gonna follow like the Tom Green lifeline. Like Tom Green was shoving his hand up animals' asses and doing whatever the hell he could. Then you didn't hear from him for a while, and now he's got like a documentary where he's a farmer or some shit. Like, it'll happen with Rodgers too. He's gonna go into retreat for a while, and then he'll pop back up with something. But yeah, Derrick Rose top 5 biggest what ifs. But you know what? I say this all the time. You could play the coulda, shoulda, woulda, what if thing, but what it is what happened. So you just got to live with it. It sucks. Fuck, man. Like, as a Bears fan, I go to the Jay Cutler one. That one was rough because just the public perception tore into him. And yeah, and that was during the NFC Championship. You remember that one, Carl?
Yeah, the infamous Caleb Haney situation where
BJ Raji drops back.
something yeah, there's like a lag. The game lagged, right? And all of a sudden BJ Raji was in the end zone. I never watched that play. I never saw it. Just kidding. I
Oh,
did. I'm
really?
scarred for life. Of course I watched that. I'm scarred for life. It's just
That's what
I
you do to
shudder at
fucking-
the thought of it. Whenever I see it replayed on clips and shit, when I'm just looking at videos or whatever, when I see that, I get really nervous and anxious. Like I have to skip. I have to go away from it. It's hard for me to watch that shit, dude. It's
No,
terrible.
see, the one that's worse for me is like 2018, the first week. We break his leg, tear his MCL, get him carted off the fucking field, and he still comes back and beats us.
Now, do you know what spawned from that?
Uh,
A lot of Packers fans will tout Perk Rodgers is who was on the field that night. Off a Perk 30. Just terrible stuff. It's hilarious in hindsight, but it's terrible to think about.
whatever. Yeah, but totally. I can't believe he came out with like a 3-series documentary on Netflix where he just cries constantly. And I'm telling you, the man's a drug addict. He is. He's a junkie. It's clear now. Like you could see it in his eye. He's got that little gloss where he's just not all there always. I don't know. Dude, that's what I mean. Look at Tom Brady, okay? Almost not even drafted, right? Gets there, works his ass off, becomes good on a good team, right? Doesn't take all the money, meets some fucking supermodel, marries her. She makes more money than he does. At the end of the day, he's got a super long fucking career. He's still obsessed with football, though. You know what I mean? Even after fucking leaving his supermodel wife and this and that, blah, blah, blah. You're telling me his problems are going to be fucking solved by ayahuasca? No, he's not a fucking junkie, dude. Aaron Rodgers is just a junkie. Like, dude, how I don't know, whatever.
I'm
Sad.
taking
It's
a back
sad
seat
where
right
it's
now.
gotten to.
I love listening to you rant about this. This is fucking amazing.
Well, because he was
Cliff says,
good,
"Is Rodgers the next Ryan Leaf?" If you don't understand,
no.
if you don't understand this conversation or this comment, I'm sorry. I think what Cliff is referring to is that Ryan Leaf was given a lifeline to try and resurrect his public image by being a spokesperson, and he's flamed out too. Just like as a quarterback, his ego and his temper let him get the best of him, and he's terrible. He said something on Twitter. He backlashed. It's like a Dan Bernstein situation, in my opinion. Just total nut job. So that's why I think that Rodgers is headed towards.
Did I tell you the Ryan Leaf story?
No, go for it.
Oh, so it's like when we started BearskiFilm, I made Twitter. Like I've never been on Twitter before, so I made a Twitter account, and there was someone that posted something, and I replied with, fucking Bill Polian said the difference between them drafting Peyton Manning and Ryan Leaf was when asked, if we draft you number 1, what are you going to do?
Hold on.
And Peyton Manning said, what?
I think I'm going to shoot my shot live. You guys got to do me a favor, okay? This is the only time I'm ever going to ask you to do this, okay? Here's what's going to happen. We're going to shoot our shot, chat. We're going to see if we can get Greg Braggs on the stream live. Buddy's smoking in his garage. He said, smoking that Sweet 16 pack. He's a fan of Purdue basketball. I said, go blue while you were on a tangent about Aaron Rodgers. And Buddy responded to me and said, impressive run they're on. How do we go about this, chat? What do we say?
Come talk. I don't fucking know. Back to Ryan Leaf, right?
Go for it.
Bill Polian, I just put that Bill Polian said the difference between them drafting Peyton Manning and Ryan Leaf was when asked, what would you do if we draft you first overall? Peyton Manning said, give me the playbook. And Ryan Leaf said, oh, I'm going to Vegas. And I posted that. And it was like the very fucking first post I ever made on Twitter. And Ryan Leaf responds to it and goes lies and like put some like gif in there. And I had to check with David. I was like, is this the actual Ryan Leaf? And it was the actual Ryan Leaf.
Wow,
And
so you baited Ryan Leaf on Twitter?
How low of him. He had to have been searching his fucking name or something for the first thing that popped up, because this was like my first tweet ever. You know what I mean? Like, dude, he's squashing on the lowest of lows here. And then I found the article from like 2007 or whatever that talked about this, and I linked it. You know what I mean? And he called me a liar again. And so I took the little video of him in the locker room screaming at the fucking reporter. What did he say? Get the fuck away from me or some shit like that.
Yeah.
And I just took that little clip and I just fucking responded to that with him. But that was my first Twitter interaction ever. It was with Ryan Leaf trying to
amazing. All I get
sit there and discredit me.
All I get are people calling me stupid because remember when I talked about drafting? We did this mock draft together. Omari and Hampton at 39th overall. I got called a loser, an idiot, a moron. People said I lost credibility. Now, lo and behold, 6-8 weeks later, what are we talking about? You'd be blessed by God if Omari and Hampton is available at 39. So, to your point you said earlier, these draft boards, you never know how it's going to shake out. It changes week to week. We're gonna probably do it. We'll do ideally, me and Nick would do a live first round mock draft the Thursday, the Saturday before the draft, and it's gonna be completely wrong, but there's gonna be some credibility to it. It's just you never know. It only takes one team, and again, as far as Ashton Genty, that one team could be the Raiders, could draft him at 6. If they don't draft him and the Bears are smart and the Cowboys are smart and say, oh, we need an offensive line, now we're talking about Ashton Genty, the first running back in the draft, being selected in the teens. Not a lot of people think that could happen, but it absolutely could. Uh-oh. Oh, you got me with that like. You scared me. I thought Greg took the bait. I thought Greg Braggs took the bait.
No, sorry. Don't mean to yank your chain, but yeah.
Yeah, if you guys are on Twitter, like that tweet, get that tweet going, because he'll get the notification. I think if someone likes it. Yeah, absolutely. Like Greg's tweet and then respond to him. Say, we would love to have you in the chat. Do it.
Let's go. I'm doing it right now. Yeah, dude. I don't know. Like I said, I just feel like we kind of do sit in a weird spot at pick 10. It's a shitty draft for us. I'm afraid. Yeah, dude, I know that's still too high. I don't want a first round running back, but dude, I don't know. Like I said, that's just my preference.
With no graphics and just right off the old Chrome Dome, Paul, what is the biggest need on the Chicago Bears roster right now, in your opinion?
Biggest need on the Chicago Bears roster
currently,
right now? Defensive end.
We signed one in free agency for a lot of money.
Great.
Okay. So you don't think that running back number 1 is a need? You think that we have RB1 on the roster?
It's a need, but yeah, I think we have.
I'm not asking. I'm not asking you where do you want to take a player or anything. Just irrelevant of the draft, essentially. The biggest need on the roster, in my opinion, the only starting position that hasn't been filled is running back number 1. You have 2 starting edges, Scottish. And again, I'm not advocating for Genty or anyone else as a running back at 10. I'm saying the biggest need on the Chicago Bears roster. See, and Oscar, you're not wrong. Tight end 2 is a need, and I think it's one of the more pressing needs that the Bears have to fill. Because if you don't fill it in the draft, filling it in free agency is going to cost a lot of money. But is tight end 2 a bigger need than running back 1? I don't think it is.
Okay. Howie Roseman, general manager of the Eagles, a guy that I really like.
Leader of the convicts. Go on.
Yes, leader of the convicts. Get it done. All right. You can put teams together like a motherfucker. Remember when he traded us a 4th round pick for Robert Quinn? Now, essentially, that flaked out on him, right? Robert Quinn didn't really do anything the rest of that year. I don't think they did anything as a team in the playoffs. It didn't really go anywhere. But it was worth it for him to trade a 4th round pick just to add another piece to the defensive end unit, because you can never have enough defensive ends. I mean, the impact that you make on the game from that position on the defensive side of the football is huge. Defensive tackle is a need too. I just think defensive end is still more of a need. Okay, we have Montez Sweat. We have Mayo Man, right? But then, dude, these guys rotate in and out. They don't play every snap, right? They're not like an offensive line. So who else you got? Austin Booker?
Well, yes, you do have
Okay,
Austin Booker.
so
But your other defensive end spot, I agree, it's literally vacant. So I hear what you're saying. It's just that as far as a need, I think that a starter is more important than a backup. And obviously your argument here is that a defensive end playing 50% of the snaps in a rotation is essentially a starter. I hear what you're saying, and it's a good argument. And the other thing I've heard with the defensive ends is that it's kind of top-heavy in this draft class. So if you pass on a defensive end at 10 and there's a run of defensive ends in the first round, you might not have a viable option essentially at picks 39 or 41. I would hope to beg to differ, and I would hope that it absolutely would end in... we got denied, everyone. We got denied.
Damn, live.
We got it. That's fine. That's fine. Let's document it just for the giggles. That's fine. You know what, Greg? Good for you. You're a stand-up guy.
Yeah. You're so nice, Carl.
Get the little I use the emojis like an old man now. I just search them up because I know what I'm looking for and I can never find them. Yeah, we'll go with this. We'll ask Greg if he wants a rain check. We won't demand anything, nothing definitive. We'll be nice about it, but
I was gonna say, while you're sharing your screen, let's look up first round drafted running backs in the last 20.
I'll bring up Adam Mason's Twitter, your favorite Adam Mason. I mean, he's got a list, and we can kind of pick some holes in it. He tweets so damn often, I don't know if I'll be able to find it, but let's see if we could search his tweets, right?
I mean, I was just talking about actual running backs drafted in the first round.
Over the course of a couple years?
Yeah. Give me the last 21st round drafted running backs.
Again, it's just so hard to decipher his Twitter. He's very much like me.
Okay, you ready for this?
Scottish, what do you mean? I know I told you how to get him on as far as Greg Braggs. Did you say it in chat? Yeah, you're not wrong here, by the way, Scottish. Yeah, Odengbo on passing downs is probably going to be your 3 tech. They're going to have a nice little NASCAR package. It's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, Scottish, sorry, I'm oblivious right now, so if you want to spell that out for me, I'd greatly appreciate that. Let me see if I can get this zoomed in properly. Okay. Again, courtesy of Adam Mason. He's saying that these are the running backs drafted in the first round. I guess their first round draft spot on a... He's very granular here, right? Rookie contracts, he's calling a miss, right? As far as... Yeah, he's pretty spot on here. And it... Okay, I got almost... He's so hard to decipher. For fuck's sake, I'm sorry I'm rambling here. But essentially, Todd Gurley, that's a hit. Melvin Gordon, that's a miss. Ezekiel Elliott's a hit. Leonard Fournette is a miss, even though he's a Super Bowl winner. McCaffrey's a hit. Saquon Barkley is a hit. Michelle's a miss.
Okay. There's
Penny's
only one guy.
Jacobs is a hit. Edwards-Helaire's a miss. Najee Harris was a hit. ETN was a miss, in my opinion, too. He sucks.
Okay, so let me share my screen here.
Go for it.
Can you see that?
You might want to zoom in.
Hold on, let me zoom in then.
There's a very clear point where you have to cut this off, though.
Okay, well, let me
let's can we just start with the Adrian Peterson era?
okay, it's very easy. Like you say, hit, miss, and that's your opinion, right? So if we
Correct.
just talk about who has a Super Bowl on the team that drafted them, okay, that's a pretty cut and dry, no opinion. It's just who's got a ring with the damn team that drafted them,
A ring?
a ring.
The Super
So
Bowl
even if we
argument is way too specific.
It's not, because that's what I want to do. I want to win a Super Bowl. So if you're telling me you're going to draft a running back pick 10, and I'm looking at a list of running backs that have been drafted in the first round, that like it just doesn't work. Even Saquon recently won it on the second team he's on. What, maybe Todd Gurley? Was Todd Gurley on the Rams when they won one?
No, but he was
No.
responsible for taking them
But
to a
look,
Super Bowl that they lost against the Patriots.
Pick 3, Trent Richardson. You know how bad of a bust that was? Do you know how much that hurts when that happens? Like, dude, so like, I don't know. What does it really do for you?
If you've ever listened to Greg Gabriel, there is a clear point in time where drafting a running back high was a value pick. That's just not the case, and I'm trying to decipher when that was. It felt like it started, like the downfall started after Adrian Peterson. So can you find him on that list? I don't even see him. Was Adrian Peterson seriously not the first running back taken in his draft class?
he was. Hold on.
Can you scroll up? The top I see is No Sean Moreno.
Yeah, hold on. Where he was? He must be.
Yeah,
is it AD?
they've made a mistake.
All day.
Yeah, that's AD. Yeah, that's him. Sorry.
all
about
day.
that.
All day. Adrian Peterson.
So yeah, I mean, but still,
Pick
like
7.
the Darren McFadden, No Sean Moreno, CJ Spiller picks, those don't feel terrible. Like they didn't pan out. They aren't icons, but in the moment, it didn't feel like those were bad picks. I think,
but what I'm saying is like Leonard Fournette won one with Tampa.
yeah, but that was a bad draft pick. He didn't pan out for the Jaguars.
Right.
There's not a lot of terrible misses here. Obviously, Trent Richardson's the biggest one.
They're all
Giovanni
misses
Bernardo's a
based
good
off-
running back for them.
Based off if I go filter Super Bowl ring, team that drafted, and search, no fucking names come up, Carl. So how are you going to sit there and try and convince me that drafting a running back in the first round is fine when it's just so one-sided when it comes to actually winning with them like that? Like, dude, these teams, whatchamacallit, the fucking Kansas City Chiefs, they drafted one, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. They were using Pacheco during the Super Bowl, but I believe Edwards-Helaire was still on the team. But I mean, dude, you could sit there and these guys are plug and play, right? Dude, get them in the second round even. It's fine. If you want to get Omarion Hampton in the second round because he's there at 39, that's
And he won't.
perfectly okay.
So there's so
Maybe
many
he will,
things
maybe he won't.
we could spill off as far as tangents, right? So Cliff, he made this point earlier. I am concerned there will be a run on running backs before Bears get to 39. Steve Rodgers added to that. He said, "We don't have the luxury to pick a running back in the first round with the massive holes we still have in the trenches when we have Swift. Get running backs in the 3rd to 5th rounds, Cam, Ollie Gordon." So I'll strengthen your argument, Paul. If there's ever a time where the Bears could rely on their running backs coach to elevate their running back, rookie or not, that would be now with Eric Bieniemy. Eric Bieniemy, and I'll try and find that on Reddit too. I saw that. Eric Bieniemy's resume, as far as it pertains to coaching running backs, it's absurdly good. So I do hear what you're saying as far as that goes, but I stand pat. I think that the Chicago Bears need a starting running back.
I think they will next year, but this year I think we're fine going out there with Swift. As much as you don't like Roschon Johnson, he's still on this team. He's fine as a backup running back, even if it's running back 3. If you want to draft running back 2 in this draft at some point, sure thing. Like, dude, you can find guys in the 3rd, 4th round. This draft is pretty running back deep, right? So,
yeah, and someone said this earlier, and I didn't star it, but essentially, there's a really clear drop-off, in my opinion, and it's after the Big Five. The Big Five, in my opinion, in the specific order of Genty, Hampton, Henderson, Judkins, and Caleb Johnson. And Caleb Johnson, I'm still a little bit iffy on. Now we're talking about Bashul Tutton. I'll show you some screenshots real quick on Bashul Tutton, because I don't think you've seen this. He's a special back, but he's essentially just an upgraded DeAndre Swift. but he's not what we need. Ooh, Greg Braggs liked to tweet. He said, I said, would you like a rain check? And Greg said yes. So we'll have to keep that in mind.
Yeah, I've got one of those I've been trying to cash for a while now. So hold on to that bad boy.
Oh, then from Greg?
Yeah.
Well, next time there's any like a chance in hell at Greg, I'll make sure to let you know then, because we'll have to. We've got it documented.
It won't. I think he hates me, so it probably was bad that you added with BearskiFilm in there. No. He's probably like, dude, I got friends over or something like. He's like, oh, that guy.
So Oscar, you're right, but as far as the tag team, you can't start with Swift. Swift's role should be a second back, change of pace, get him the ball in space as a receiver, but you can't have him be your first and second down back running between the tackles.
Why not?
He's proven that he's not able to do that. When he has the opportunity to run through run through the tackles, in between the tackles, whatever you want to say, what DeAndre Swift instead chooses to do is cosplay as Barry Sanders and jump backwards and outside and run away from the daylight. He's not a good running back.
Because just looking at his attempts throughout his career, he had 114 on the Lions, 151 on the Lions, 99 on the Lions, and then 229 for the Eagles. And then last year for us, he had 253.
What are you talking about?
Attempts.
Right, that's what I'm trying to say. Like that's my strongest argument with DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift was on a Hall of Fame caliber offensive line across the board. Jason Kelsey. They had a very extremely good offensive line. He only mustered up 1,000 rushing yards. I don't know what the average was. It wasn't good. Then the Eagles got worse on the offensive line. You downgrade your center to Cam Jurgens. You dealt with some injuries, but you upgrade the running back. And what did that upgraded running back allow you to do? It allowed you to win the Super Bowl. And I understand they have to have everything else in the team before that. You have to have the alleged murderer, all these things. I get that. But at the end of the day, DeAndre Swift wasn't good enough to win a Super Bowl. Definitely wasn't good enough for Detroit. Got traded to Philadelphia. Wasn't good enough for Detroit or for Philadelphia. That's the strongest argument I've got. So,
yeah, and so I guess my argument is we're nowhere where Philadelphia is, and I guess that's not my concern just yet.
But we have a lot better of a quarterback, so we're a lot closer than you'd like to admit.
We do, but you could still get a guy not pick 10. So that's where that comes in.
Now you're swinging like your dad asked you to go back and swing the bat for your argument with your right hand and your left hand, hit the tire 100 times each way, right? You're hitting the wrong thing. I don't want the Bears to draft a running back at 10.
Yeah, I mean, so I guess I don't disagree with you. It's not that we don't need a running back. We do. I don't think it's that high of a need. So
now, if Omari and Hampton falls to 39 and you don't go that route because you want to take a backup tackle, and then Omari and Hampton is still available 2 picks later at 41, and you deny Omari and Hampton again for a rotational defensive end, I might not be alive anymore. That would be a huge failure in the analysis of the roster.
Yeah, I mean, listen, and I know people are hating on Swift in the chat. He signed a 2-year deal. We have him here for 1 more year, right? So I'm not sitting here going, hey, he's the long-term answer, that anything like that. But to have him sit there and start next year is not crazy to me. I mean, get your value out of the money you've paid him, run him to the ground, let him go. I mean, it is what it is. And I think for where we're at, it's kind of like the Braxton Jones thing. It's like, okay, could be better. It could also be worse.
But the problem is that you actually can have some success with Swift as your running back too. I don't want the Bears to necessarily draft a running back and have that running back run the ball 25, 30 times a game and essentially run himself out of commission by the time he needs a contract extension. I want it to be a 1-2 punch like what you see in Detroit. I don't know the average carries that Montgomery was having before his injury, but I would like to see Swift essentially be the change of pace back. I think that's where his true best version you'd find him at, and you'd maximize the money you have on him. And absolutely, after his contract runs up, don't think about extending him unless he wants to come back for the cheap. Just have him go middle somewhere else.
Yeah, and somebody said he signed a 3-year deal. That's true, but $15 million only guaranteed. So
Yeah, he's essentially going to
you
get
can
$10
cut
million from the
him.
Bears this year, and yeah, the
You
dead
could cut
cap
him
would be
right.
minimal.
Exactly. You
Absolutely.
can cut him in the third year without really worrying about it. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I just disagree, Oscar. I do think that you can have a running back one in the sense that it's your starting lead bell cow who's going to get the majority of the work, and DeAndre Swift as a change of pace back would be good. If the Bears draft Bashul Tutton or R.J. Harvey as like a complement, you have the exact same type of player. So you have essentially a one-dimensional type running attack, and I don't know if that's good. Yeah, Scottish, you're absolutely right. Judkins would be perfect. I saw people arguing about that the Bears should trade down and try and get Judkins in the 50s. Fuck that. If Judkins is there at 39 or 41, you take him. He would be perfect for this offense. He's one of the top 5. That's one of the running backs who's going to elevate your offense. And you need that. And I do think that Judkins is a type of guy where if you limit his touches, 15 a game, he absolutely could get a second contract. He'd essentially be like David Montgomery in the sense that in a perfect world, under the Lions at least, Montgomery's elevated himself into the conversation of like a top 15, top 10 running back in the entire NFL. I think Judkins could be just that. And you need that with that high of a pick. It's pick 39.
Yeah. No, second round, sure. But first round, pick 10, like I said, man, defensive end's kind of where my mind's at. Yeah, and that's what happens to all these running backs. When they fall off of a cliff. And so that's why, that's why it's hard, man. That whole market for them is hard. They took a real big hit. They've been getting more fair contracts recently, I think. It's not as outrageous as it once used to be, but, man, I don't know. It's tough for running backs. Because
Swift got an amazing contract. I'll try and find that so I know what it is, but he got a really nice extension. It was awesome. So
yeah, and I mean, dude, it sucks because those guys get used and abused and thrown away, in my opinion. So it's tough to find guys that really last and make an impact nowadays.
yeah, Saquon's being rewarded with a 2-year, $41.25 million extension that makes him the highest paid running back. The NFL's first $20 million plus per year running back. Barkley also has the ability to earn an additional $15 million in incentives and escalators. Again, talk about the beauty of Howie Roseman. Your running back has a incentive-based contract. That's beautiful. That's how it should be.
Yeah, I'm still I like what the Patriots always did. It was just situational football. I mean, dude, they had a running back that would get 3 touchdowns in a night. That was their third string. Why? Because this team's weak up the middle and it's shitty weather. So we're gonna run it down their throat with the biggest guy we got. Like I don't know. I like that type of flexibility in an offense, and I know that's not typical. That they were kind of like the one team that would adjust their offense week to week, and a lot of teams don't do that. But yeah, I don't know, man. I just go back to a lot of these situations where even when the running back was good, like look at Derrick Henry, man. That guy's a monster. He carried the Titans. He even went to the Ravens now, still couldn't get it done. Like, and at the end of the day, I was asking, like, remember, who would you rather have injured, Jalen Hurts or Saquon Barkley going into the Super Bowl?
Say that again?
Going into the Super Bowl, who would you rather have injured, Jalen Hurts or Saquon Barkley?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I said
Saquon.
Jalen Hurts.
Really? Yeah, but I mean, Jalen Hurts had that game locked up before Saquon got a touchdown even. You know what I mean? So,
well, that's the thing.
Man.
The week before, or the 2 weeks before, Saquon Barkley just absolutely dominated. So the Chiefs said, we are not going to lose to the best option. We're going to make the lesser option, being Jalen Hurts, beat us. And what happened? He beat them and beat their ass. In combination with the alleged murderer and those boys from Georgia, that defensive line was special. So again, talk about philosophy. Let's build a very viable, strong defensive line. I've had this conversation ad nauseum with Adam Mason as far as thinking that Andrew Billings, is he starter level quality? Is he good enough? I think he's fine. But Michigan bias included, I want the Bears to draft one of those guys, those defensive tackles, because those guys will be here for a second, third contract. I think they'll be some of the best players that are positioned for their entire career.
Yeah, I go back to having Aldo on BearskiFilm. Aldo from Barroom Network, when I asked him to come do a Bears therapy short, and he told me about the draft where the Rams had 2 good defensive tackles. Aaron Donald fell to the Giants. The Giants passed up on him. He was sure we're going to get him, but the Rams went up to the podium and drafted Aaron Donald, the pick before us. He's like, but they had 2 good defensive tackles, and they still took another one. And look how it worked out for them. Like, dude, those guys are, I don't know. They make a lot more impact. They really do. I know.
Yeah, I mean, if you're closer to the football, you have the potential to make more impact. I don't know what the exact quote. I've heard it from PJ. The further away you get from the football, the further you get away from football. I don't know what it is, but what I wanted to show you was a potential mock draft from NFL Network's Daniel Jeremiah. I just came across it on Twitter, and I thought it'd be fun to review as far as like a top 10. I think I still have the poll on the Lions Mind channel, by the way, guys, as far as who you'd want to take. But in this mock draft, because you were asking how do you think it would shake out, Daniel Jeremiah, I can't remember if he was a former general manager. He has a lot of street cred in this type of stuff, so I take his opinion very seriously. So again, as far as a mock draft, he's got Cam Ward at 1, Abdul Carter at 2, Shedeur Sanders at 3, so there's your 3 quarterbacks in the top, or 2 quarterbacks in the top 3 picks. Travis Hunter goes to the Patriots at 4. Jalen Walker, a guy who the Bears might be interested, he goes to the Jaguars at 5. He's got the Vegas Raiders taking Genty at 6. Armband Bamboo going at 7. Mason Graham, unfortunately, going at 8. 9 is Jihad Campbell. Now that is insane to me. And I leaked it. Sorry, I wanted to slow roll it a bit, but he's got the Bears taking Will Campbell at 10. Again, I think it's a set in stone thing. There's going to be 2 tackles taken in the top 10. How would you feel if this is how it shook out, Paul?
Yeah, if we wind up getting a tackle at 10, I'm fine with that.
The problem here is that a lot of people, and you can see the... yeah, he does say that he'd be a left tackle, so... Yep. The cool thing is that Will Campbell wouldn't have to play right away, but I mean, are we... Honestly, that I kind of want to ask you guys that poll right now, and I think I'm going to set that up. Paul, if you're okay with a tackle at 10, and considering that the tackle probably wouldn't play, because I think they're going to squeeze the lemon on Braxton Jones, and like I said, I hope they don't piss away Karan Amagaji, but would you prefer the Bears take a tackle that maybe the measurables don't stack up? He's just more of a gamer. He's got good game film and good stats against a good competition. Or would you want to take a player who maybe has the better measurables and is projected to be better, or has the injury concerns as well, that being Josh Simmons? What would you prefer to take?
Yeah, if there's injury concerns, I'd prefer the guy with no injury concerns. That right there would be my determining factor. Yeah, availability is key. And with a pick that high, you can't sit there and gamble on that. So
now, what if there was something as far as the doctor said, in the sense that if this guy has a full season, he's drafted in 2025 and doesn't play in 2025 because he doesn't have to, he can rest, he can get acclimated, he can have a full season under an NFL strength and conditioning coach, weight room, nutritionist, all these things, right? That took a percentage of his injury being a serious thing. Let's say it eliminated it down to like a single percentage, right? If you said that redshirting Josh Simmons would guarantee that he'd be healthy for the rest of his rookie contract, is that something that you would be okay with, redshirting a top 10 pick?
Nope. No, at that point, I'm drafting for impact.
JC1 as if he's the spawn of Paul's brain. Win now means play now. Yep.
I mean, dude, honestly, I know it's unrealistic to think this way, but like Ryan Poles, I saw his the percentage chance of him getting fired at the beginning of last year was at a low. By mid-season, it was pretty high. Towards the end of the season, it was kind of high. And then they hire Ben Johnson and it drops back kind of low again. But, like, dude, you got to think about this. Like, you might not be here next year if it implodes and goes extremely terrible. And, like, dude, no, you gotta win now. Like you have to win now. Braxton will be ready, but the thing is, I mean, it's still you can't say that for sure. You don't know that for sure. And we've had a lot of offensive line injuries. Like I said, Jonah Jackson did not play a full year last year. So even if a guard goes down, would you rather have whatchamacallit? Would you rather have Will Campbell there to be able to
Now,
plug in?
I don't know if Will Campbell would be able to make the switch from left tackle to right guard, but
I'm just saying. So
I would be okay with Will Campbell playing guard. Again, someone mentioned this earlier. The fact of the matter is that Will Campbell stepped in as a starter, an 18-year-old starter in the SEC. Many would argue the SEC is the best college football. I can't think of the term. Group of
Conference?
players. Thank God for you, Paul. Yes, conference. Best conference in college football. Only gave up, I think, 2 sacks in 3 years. 3 sacks in 3 years, something like that. Starting at 18 as a tackle. He's a gamer.
I'm just saying. There's been plenty of issues on this offensive line to where, yeah, we made some nice moves, but there's still more to go. I mean, you want to talk about wasting Karan. I mean, that's just more on Karan than anything else. That kid was not ready when he came in. And I mean, whether that's the coaches or whatever it was, he cannot. It was ugly. I know you know what I'm talking about, Carl. The game where Karan stepped in, it was
Against the Vikings?
terrible. Yes.
I was in Arizona. I didn't really get to divulge and enjoy that game. But yeah, it was bad. I know it was bad.
So to sit there and say, well, we hope he works out, can't piss away that pick. I mean,
the problem is that
kind of already pissed away.
No, absolutely not. I strongly disagree with you in the sense that Karan was a 3rd-round pick who was injured. Ideally, he wouldn't have played and would have been able to have that redshirt year. It just didn't work out that way. But now he's had the time to be fully healed. I don't think he's had a lick of an injury concern, to my understanding. He should be a full go by the time we're practicing. And he's got really good measurables. The reason he fell is because of the injury, and his performances, which are good, came at Yale or something like that, where it was, inferior competition, in my opinion.
It's the same exact argument. So we're going to draft another guy that ideally will get a red shirt because he's
at top 10.
Yeah, it would not. Right. So we're going to do the same exact fucking thing with a top 10 pick now. Like, how is that a good idea?
Brian wants to know if we're talking about Michigan's pro day. I mean, there's nothing concrete. We can watch the video if you want. The video does suggest that they were the only 2 that were pictured. Let me see if I can find it and we can watch it. I need to screen it and make sure that there's no music that'll get us copyrighted or whatever, but let's see.
No, yeah, man. There's definitely some nice prospects, especially from Michigan, that you could be happy with drafting at pick 10, in my opinion. So, and we'll see how it shakes up. We will.
I don't think that this video on social media is going to get tagged, or from social media, I'm sorry. I've got it muted as well, so we won't be able to hear anything. But just take a look at what you see, guys. You guys let me know what you see. Already saw Ben Johnson. Vikings. Bench press. Dennis Allen, where are you, bud? That looks like Kenneth Grant. There's Dennis Allen. Saw Steelers. I saw Vikings again, but it looked like the same guy. Kenny Grant. Mason Graham. Yeah, let's not show that anymore. But essentially, that's what we're looking at. I mean, there's nothing too concrete, but what it is, they showed the Bears twice for a reason, in my opinion. I think that there's something to be said there. And obviously, the Bears are drafting high. You want to make sure that you kind of have your guys have that public perception. There was a situation where this just happened. I forgot what it was. But essentially, you want to make sure that you give the best for your guys. And if the Bears are drafting that high, of course they're going to do that. Also, Ben Johnson was on the Lions. And the Lions, a lot of fans of Michigan are going to like the Detroit Lions. So that's why you do that. But to start off with that, it's kind of weird. Have any of the numbers came out? What do you mean? Are you saying the draft measurables, like the results from their pro day? I can try and find some stuff for you guys.
What do you think of Tevin Jenkins going to the Browns?
It's where he belongs. It's where it's a bad guard goes to a bad team. It is what it is, man. I'm sorry
Did
to
they-
have so much hate for Tevin Jenkins. I feel like an
Did
asshole,
they
but
come out with the contract yet?
no, I looked at it while Michigan was playing basketball earlier. They have not.
I'm very curious to see what he's going to get paid over there.
Yeah, I am too. I don't even know how long the contract is. If you guys are curious on what the numbers were for Kenny Grant,
1 year contract.
for sure, it's for sure 1 year.
I thought I just read that. Let me double check.
Kenny Grant, 31-inch vertical, 27 bench press, reps of 225, obviously. And then he ran a 40-yard dash in 5 seconds, 5:07. Yeah, sorry, Drake. I feel like I'm being rude to Tevin Jenkins, and I've given my official take on Adam Mason's show. I'm happy that he's getting a contract, and ideally he does well, and he's able to achieve everything he wants in life. I love Tevin Jenkins, but I think my comments are coming from a place of hurt. I don't think you guys can blame me. Makari Page ran a 4.45 and 40 yards, or a 40-yard dash in 4.45 seconds.
The Athletic Browns agreed a 1 year deal with Tevin Jenkins.
Well, that was my crackpot theory, was that Tevin Jenkins is looking for a chance to end up playing right tackle, because the numbers assigned to right tackles nowadays are insane.
And the crack was right again, Carl.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Which brings me back to Aaron Rodgers. Doing drugs. Not a good
No,
thing.
John, I believe these guys, Scottish Bear, saying it's a 1 year contract. I think it's a 1 year contract as well. I looked at Spotrac and Over the Cap, and neither of those sites had any details. Yeah, JC1, correct. There's nothing with Tevin Jenkins. Damn dementia setting in. Tell me about it, John. Tell me about it, man.
Yes, sir. So,
What is this?
what is what?
Paul, this is going to hit close to home.
Oh, no. What?
I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. Who's this, Paul? Who's this? That's your former guest, Taylor Dahl. Who's that behind her?
Oh, look at that.
Taylor Dahl, picture with Caleb Williams.
See?
Unbelievable.
And people are telling me that we're losing credibility?
Who's not to be rude to our lovely chat members, but I think it's Oscar. I believe it was Oscar who's saying we lost credibility. I don't know, Oscar.
Take that,
Oscar. It's not looking good for you, buddy. I'm just kidding. If you guys want to say that that I'm losing credibility, I don't care. I could care less. But just don't say anything bad about Paul, please. Unbelievable.
I mean, I really don't care if people say bad about Paul. I don't want people to say bad about Carl, so.
I hear you. I hear you.
I do enough talking bad about Carl myself to where people jumped in on it too. I would just start to feel bad.
Hey, if we were losing credibility, Oscar wouldn't have came back, in my opinion. So, Drake, appreciate the hell out of you, man. Only when it comes to certain opinions, no. I mean, I try and be consistent. I think that's the only thing that I can be, is consistent. So, I'm going to end the poll on this one as well. I asked you guys, if the Bears had to draft a left tackle at 10, who would you want? 58% out of 12 votes say Will Campbell, 25% say Josh Simmons, and then I asked for other in the chat. 17% said other, but no one has dropped the other. So I don't know if you want Bamboo to play left tackle or something else. I have no idea, but anything else, Paul, that you'd like to get off your chest, so to speak?
No, not really. I think I got it all out there.
Do we want to try a mock draft? It's at the point where I just don't want to do a mock draft to do a mock draft. What I want to do is come up with a theory. Maybe let me save some screenshots real quick, and then maybe we can talk about. Well, let's just look at the draft order, and I want to give some ranges as far as the top 5 running backs that I keep talking about. Because I'll give you my opinion on where I think they could go if the shit hits the fan, and then I want you to let me know if I'm stupid. And if you say I'm stupid before I even get the argument out, that's fine by me too.
I wish we were. Damn it! I wish we were on my StreamYard.
Why? What's up?
I have that little video, but
Upload it, and I'll play it.
oh, hold on. Okay.
Banks, read your chat. I'm so sorry. You know what, Scottish Bear? If I was a better human being, I'd do better, but I can't. I'm incapable. Uh-oh, Nodge is here. How's it going, sir? I liked your comment on YouTube earlier as well. Nodge, I'm sure Nodge is not the first human to say this, but he had a comment, essentially, he referenced something called testicular fortitude. That's, Nodge, that's top tier. That's funny as hell, man. How quickly does Josh Simmons get back to 100%? It's the golden question. He may not even. Banks, read your chat. Hey, I'm reading the chat.
Yeah, I'm gonna need a minute here.
Not a problem at all. I'm just referencing the chat logs, making sure that I didn't miss any. Yeah, there you go, Scottish Bear. Both of you guys said Banks and said the same thing. You'd rather have Banks as the left tackle? Carl, can you walk and chew gum? No, I am incapable of doing that. Absolutely incapable of doing that. Soft as butter. Steve Preto, is this your first time in the chat as well? No. We weren't in a position to draft injured players. Karan was a stupid pick. I don't know. Karan was a second-round talent that fell to them in the third at essentially a position of need. I didn't know that we were talking about drafting offensive linemen and being a stupid pick. I disagree with that one. I guess if your argument is they should have drafted another left tackle, then sure. That's why it's hard to read chat and host. I was just waiting for Paul to cue me up. Are we ready for the video?
It's 5 seconds.
Let's go.
You're a piece of shit.
I am not a piece of shit.
Well, yeah, but you're a little bitch.
Sure.
Who is this, Aaron Rodgers? Are we going to play it again?
Because you're a piece of shit. Because you're a piece of shit.
I am not a piece of shit.
Well, yeah, but you're a little bitch.
Sure.
What's the context, Paul? You're muted.
What do you mean? What's the context?
What are we doing? Is that Aaron Rodgers?
No, I don't know. It's just kind of, people talk about us losing credibility. That's my answer there.
Oh, son of a bitch. Hold on a second. We have to get this saved.
Yeah, I hope that doesn't copyright strike anything. It should be short enough. You know what that's from, Carl, or no?
No, I'm not a big movie guy. What is that from?
That is from Basketball or Orgasmo. I think it's Orgasmo. No, Basketball. It's got to be Basketball.
I don't know why you saying basketball is making me laugh. It is called basketball, not basketball, right?
It is called Basketball, yes.
But like you're Polish, so I didn't know if you were just having like an all-time moment. I was just tripped up for a minute.
No, the Basketball, if you haven't seen it, it's funny. So they talk about how sports gets to be just stupid with the celebrations and the money and the contracts and people changing teams, and they try merging certain sports together. So like you see a guy trying to catch a baseball and getting tackled by a football player and some stupid shit. And so these guys come up with a game that's essentially baseball and basketball mixed together, and it's called Basketball. You run the bases still.
That's ridiculous.
Oh, dude, it's a great movie. If you've never seen it, you need to watch that movie. So it's the two guys.
Now I'm getting anxious. What's Cliff talking about here? What are you talking about?
It's the two guys that make South Park. It was their movie.
Unbelievable. I can't get a good picture of the NFL draft order again. It's starting to make me mad. Should have had this queued up or something. No, the Twitter's going crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I got like 20 more minutes, so up to you if you want to do a mock or whatever, or this and that. But
No, I want to just throw out the crack pipe theory as far as these running backs being drafted. Oh, I think I found a good image finally. It's on Instagram, though. I don't want to use Instagram. Can I open the image? I fucking hate Instagram, dude. And now I like the tweet. Unbelievable. Yeah, it's too small. But that's the exact picture I wanted to use because it's actually, you can see all the teams and it's not nuts. I guess I need the second round too. You know what? I'm going to save everyone the frustration
I was going to
and
say this
embarrassment.
is great content here.
I'm going to come up with that for next time. I will come up with something composed where you don't memorize it. I know. Tell me about it, Oscar. Tell me about it.
Dude, how do you not know basketball?
Bro,
On doesn't
sheltered.
ignite. You have no idea. On doesn't ignite.
Have you ever watched Lord of the Rings?
Yes.
Okay. We could go ban for losing credibility. I fucking love Oscar Guillen. God bless you, guy. God bless you, Oscar. So let's go band for band. I'll ask you a Lord of the Rings question. You can ask me a basketball question. How can I watch basketball? Is it on Netflix? Or something?
I have it. I could send it to you probably.
Oh wait, the file? You might not want to admit that, but
You got a lot of hard drives.
Yikes. Paul, I want to give you the final word. You want to send us off with anything?
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers, Crack Pipe Carl.
No, that's apples to oranges. That's apples to oranges.
Don't want to be like these guys. I mean, you see why.
Fucking believable.
There's plenty of examples from each side. It's a shame. It really is. What drugs do to you. So
the slander. I invite Paul into my house and he shits in it. Unbelievable. Correct pronunciation on my name. Fantastic. What is this? I love your champion hoodie.
So that's the Naj, and he bought some BearskiFilm gear.
Oh yeah,
champion hoodie, BearskiFilm.
Unbelievable. Wait, they're champion branded?
Yes,
bro. Did you hear what happened with them?
Oh no, what?
It's not that.
Last time it was Le'Veon Bell.
I'm just saying.
so now I'm expecting the word.
There was a point. Did they
where their cousin?
No.
Isn't that what they did? If they do, I got to take their
this
brand
show is
right
going
off.
south. This show is going south.
What? No super chats?
Last time I couldn't believe it. I was like, Jesus. Those are the allegations? What the hell?
Bro. Okay, that's too much. All I wanted to say is that Champion was a brand that you used to be able to find at Walmart for like $20. Dirt cheap sweatshirts, sweatpants, all these things, right? I've got a pair of Champion sweatpants that I wear all the time. And then something happened where they became like top tier, like designer brand for a little while. Like they were selling sweatshirts for like $180. So I was just saying, if that's the type of brand that you are selling your merch on, that's a good get for you. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, I mean, I believe it's a lot cheaper than that. I think it's like $50 or something.
Well, Naj, you give me so much stress, Naj, talking about those goddamn Washington Huskies. Why don't you buy me one? I'll give you my address. Better yet, just buy one, give the money to Paul, and Paul can drive it to me, and we can cut out the shipping. Let's do that.
I get on hold on. Champion hoodie, like I want to get the
I mean, you could still love Champion, Dobbsy. There's no problem with Champion. I'm just saying, like, that's a good get for BearskiFilm. It's good material.
Yeah.
Now we're getting into the weeds.
Hold on here. See?
Who's that, David?
No, that's just... I believe that's the one Naj got.
Send it over. What's
Yeah.
that bad boy cost? What's that bad boy cost?
That bad boy costs. Let me look it up. Hold on. I'll let you know right now in 1 second.
What happens to the running back segment? I was going to suggest that I compose a theory on what running backs could go where if there's a chain reaction. But I don't think I'm in the right mental state. I will have to come back with that next week for you guys. Or maybe we'll do it on the Thursday show.
$49.99.
Like shipped to the door, I still got to pay tax.
No, there's still like others. What?
Brian Gilmore says,
Me
is
with
that
hair?
Polsky with hair?
Back, yeah. I mean, that's I used to model for Champion.
It was around $50.
Yeah.
Wow. So Bearski, are you suggesting that Bearski has not been impacted by inflation? That'd be a hell of a selling point.
Yeah, I mean, I keep it low. I'm not trying to, sit there and just take everybody's money. I'm just happy if people buy them. So I keep the profit margin.
That said,
low.
this would be the perfect time to play my favorite audio clip.
What? No super chats?
What the hell, guys? No super chats? No.
Yeah, just begging for money. Here we go, begging for money.
Don't be a tightwad. Tariffs! Oh no! Paul, your Polish goods are being tariffed.
It's going to start costing me money every time anybody orders a BearskiFilm hoodie.
How
And
many
I'll
do I have
still-
to buy to put you out of business? I'm just kidding.
No,
I'd like 100 sweatshirts, please. Unbelievable.
we'll see.
Paul, we're getting into the weeds. Any final thoughts?
No, I already gave them to you.
Aaron Rodgers, good guy.
Yeah. When I
Next time I have BearskiFilm on, whether it's yourself or David, I'll have to make sure that I introduce you guys as the #1 Aaron Rodgers fans. Oh my god, Brian. Unbelievable.
Yes, sir. So
Decal looks great too. Unbelievable. Alrighty, Paul. Hey, the world wants to know, when are we doing an NFL ski again?
Oh, that's David's show, so gotta reach out to David. Hopefully Tuesday?
Would be sure
Maybe.
would be nice. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be. So
I feel like it's just going to be a situation where we wait for Aaron Rodgers to sign. Aaron Rodgers signs as a backup somewhere, and then we'll just go live on Tuesday and just bash him for 2 hours.
yes. Yeah, I will
Lovely.
definitely do that. Such a douchebag.
That's
Really.
That sounds fine by me.
All right, guys. Well, thank you everybody for sitting with us for 2 hours. And yeah, like I said, it's been few and far between recently, at least for BearskiFilm, just because, well, it's the off season. But yeah, hopefully we get some of these Michigan draft prospects come our way, right, Carl?
Now, but yes, by the grace of God. Now, Bob, this is an all-timer for me, okay? I'm going to put myself on full screen. This is a microphone. This is a water bottle. Now, I don't know if it's like incognito because it's in front of the audio panels, but that's an all-timer from Bob Swede.
I don't know.
He never stops. He never stops. And then I have to defend myself against this, right? Like, I like my college team. And Naj keeps poking the bear, so to speak. He keeps talking about what happened.
Are you from Michigan or something?
I should say yes, but my grandparents are. I lived with my grandparents for a year when I was young, and I just remember my grandfather, he was a big Michigan Wolverine fan. And I
Okay.
remember them being good back then, and I got hooked. It is what it is. And then when it came to NFL football at the time, obviously, Lions suck. My grandfather probably liked to watch the Patriots just as much as anyone because of Tom Brady. So when I'm a fan of my father's teams, my grandfather's teams. So Bears,
due to
Michigan.
deep childhood psychological trauma.
Unbelievable. I mean, talk about trauma. I could have chose to be an Illinois guy, like the University Fighting Illini, Northwestern. And admittedly, it's cool to watch those guys. I remember Pat Fitzgerald, the coach of Northwestern, all these things. But I don't know, man. It's no Michigan for me. I pick a team, that's it. I'm not flip-flopping. I'm done. Somebody has to be a Wolverines. They got a lot of fans. I don't know what you're talking about. I've stumbled across a lot of people in this chat on Twitter who like the Bears and Michigan. I thought I was a fucking unicorn, but apparently not. So, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
See, Brian Gilmore, Let's Go Blue. There's so many, like Infarius. I didn't get to see. I don't know if Prometheus, if you're a Michigan fan. Mr. Charles Johnson. Like, these guys exist. It's crazy. Where's the... Unbelievable. Yeah, Brian's getting into the weeds with us as well. We got to pull the plug. Gentlemen, if there's any ladies listening, thank you guys so very much for watching. We appreciate the ever-living hell out of the time that you spent with us. Thine Spine will be back next Saturday. Ideally, Tuesday, you'll see me on NFL Ski on BearskiFilm. Obviously, the Bears Country Production show is every Thursday. I don't know if they'll be doing anything fancy this week. I have no idea who their guest is. But you guys know where to find us. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like. If you're not subscribed to either of these channels, I implore you to at least consider it. Until next time, everyone, bear the hell down.